Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Slow Burn. My name is MYLES Maestro, and today I'm smoking out of my Peterson Aran X105. It's got a nice rustication to it, a little rugged, like my personality. Just kidding. Today I'm smoking some Boswell's Northwoods. Just got to try this. Let me get a little closer. Try this for the first time. Oh, hello. Where did you come from? It's a little neighborhood cat that just popped out of nowhere. Me and my wife were watching. I say watching. We were observing this cat from afar, and she would come up and give her little treats and stuff. Hello. And she was a really fat cat. Well, she disappeared for, hey, you want to say hi? She disappeared for a time. Say hi. And to be honest, we thought she died. We had heard some ruckus. We knew some coyotes that were around in this area. We had seen, like, there's a little duo of two coyotes that come up and around. I know. And, so we thought that they might have got her because we didn't see her for like a couple weeks. Well, she must have been pregnant or something because she's come back. She's ultra skinny. We give her food and water still. But yesterday was the first day she'd come back, so kind of crazy. It is kind of crazy. But back on the subject of Northwoods, I just got this blend in. Let's see. I got back home from out of town on the 6th, so I tried it for the first time on July 6th. I do not regret it. This is one of the craziest blends I've ever smoked. I'm a big fan of English blends, and I'm not so big of a fan of aromatics, just to be honest. I think there's something about like the beef jerky, brisket, smoky campfire taste that I just kind of crave. But this was an unexpected curveball for me. It really tastes like s'mores on a campfire. It's the only way I know how to describe it. Like toasted marshmallow, maybe some nuttiness, like slight. But man, that English, it gives me that satisfaction, that latakia, that campfire taste that I crave. And then on top of that, it gives like a nice sweetness that lasts through the entire bowl. My beef with aromatics is that, you know, a third or halfway through the bowl, that casing, that sweetness is gone. And it just tastes like I'm smoking a bland straight Virginia at that point. With this, it's like it comes alive. It starts off as maybe a more smoky aromatic, and then the further you get down, it becomes like a sweet Balkan blend. And there's no Orientals in it, so I don't know how it gets to that point, but man, it is good. This is definitely up there with Nightcap for me. Definitely up there. So this, Inklings, and Nightcap are my three favorites I've ever had so far. And they each bring something different to the table. Definitely. Which, I cannot complain. I'm going to have to cellar all three of those. Eventually stockpile as many of those blends as I possibly can. So, anyway. Hope everyone had a good July 4th weekend. I did. I went to my grandma's house and had a fantastic time with some friends and my wife and family. There's something about just spending time with family, especially my grandparents. It's very special. because you don't know how much time you got left, and that's a sad thought to think about, but it's also, I think, a thought worthy of exercising, because it's important. If you don't recognize that, then you'll take the time with them either for granted, or you won't spend time with them at all, and that's something I've definitely been trying to make up for in my past. So, on the subject of time and not wasting it, I wanted to share an essay on time. Got this essay. It's called The Hands of Time. Just wanted to read this for y'all. It's about 1,700 words or so. So if you don't have a good attention span, or a long one, lock in. Here we go. Before the utterance that tamed reality into existence, there was a void, a deep, endless onyx lying motionless on vast shores of madness. As storms of chaos raged into the eternity of darkness, a word was spoken like the strike of lightning. As the seas of siege settled, the hands of time began to wave. Tick-tock, tick-tock, were the first sounds of song creation echoed back to its creator in praise. 518,400 measures rang before the first breaths of man began to fill its spectrum. As the reflection of frequencies began to dance upon the ears of man, a smooth whisper began its crescendo. The praise that once was aired to pride, and the song fell to silence when suddenly the hands of time shuddered. In an instant, the shared love of time, space, and matter festered into orgy. Mastery diluted into mess, and measures of dance deviated into measurements of desolation. At this insemination of sin, the face of time was forever marred by the return of this ancient evil that thrusted itself into humanity and back into the void from whence it came. The sound that once was praised diminished into sinister signature sound of loss. Tick-tock, tick-tock became the audible calling card of history's most mindless killer. Centuries passed as time began to collect its victims. One by one, its allegiances swayed, ventured further outside its initial bounds, until the seas of siege were released upon the earth from the fountains of the deep. Souls gathered in despair under the drowning swells, and their spirits departed from time as a breath left their physical forms. When the storms ended, a bow of promise glowed through the steam of the rain as the time of judgment passed into memory, but its order remained unchanged. The collection of souls accumulated were but a consequence of the sophistication laced into the threads of creation. Time cannot take what lies outside of its ruthless possession, but eventually time takes all. Within its order there's an appointment, a process beyond its own, and as the seas of siege were once tamed, so time will be. The moment of which this miracle should manifest lies outside of its grasp, known only to the Creator. All created orders face limitations, and to this time is not immune. In its order, the 12 tenets of time were given, and they are as follows. It cannot end until its time. When it ends, it cannot cry. Though it can mend, it cannot lie. It cannot think or wonder why. It cannot be, not like a mind. It cannot save, just pass you by. It cannot see, but this is best. It is not good, it lacks the sense. It is not free, for it is spent. It cannot buy, for it is debt. It cannot repeat, but it will stretch. It cannot rewind, only forget. Only once has time ever strayed from the pastures of its cyclical nature, at the command of the great shepherd who created them. At his appointment, time was reborn at 1 and moved at his command until his death and resurrection at 33. Now the 12 tenets of time remain its shackles until the day it is rewritten or destroyed. No creation can alter these tenets without the hand of the one who wrote them, and no creation can stop it. From then, seconds have descended upon man like flurries on a white winter's day, but they dissipate as they settle upon our snare, lost in the exact moment we attempt to capture them. The precipitation of our past evaporate into vaporous clouds of anticipation, form into future, and begin to fall. The present is but a fog that comes and goes with the rush of wind from every movement of sound or matter. Generations upon generations have tried to separate the spoken orders from their confined quarters. Rituals and blood sacrifices from leaders and laymen alike desecrate the ground in which we walk and attempt to alter the deep magic of song that laid the foundations of the earth and its waters below. The metronome of smooth whispers rises and falls with the singing sons and daughters of fallen ones, infiltrating the masses with words of honey and sounds of cinnamon. The sweet and savory introduction turns to ashes in our mouths as we burn with lust of the flesh in verse. Curses ooze from our lips like the boiling sap of trees consumed by fire and flood, while sour scents and sounds of gurgling pops spill from the blood-soaked briar of our deep-rooted sins. Tick-tock continues to seep into every imagination of the thoughts of our hearts as we learn the dance of time well spent. The sons and daughters become fathers and mothers and grandfathers and grandmothers until generations of victims become the sole perpetrators. The theatrics of old become traditions of latter days. The threats of yesterday become the conduct of tomorrow until we champion villains as heroes. This is the test of time that none shall pass until time itself comes to pass. Time moves swiftly forward along its continuum as societies decay under its heavy hand. Whisperers hidden in the shadow of secrets orchestrate plots that grow ever ill. Like stray dogs backed into black and white corners, their desperation breeds a violence beyond measure, while their bloodlines rise to authority. From pawns to kings and queens, they swear oaths of public service and fealty while coiled behind closed doors. They spill the blood of innocents for degrees of enlightenment. Rooks, bishops, and knights are their secret descendants implanted into positions of power, seeking to control the narrative of time to the detriment of pawns. Whisperers turn to words, words into stories, stories into news, news into history, history into textbooks, textbooks into facts, and facts into reality. When the whispers become the reality, our ability to question the order will vanish before our eyes. We will be blind as time is blind. There is but one goal for such a plot: to kill the Creator. The mortal enemy to the servants of time is the Creator alone. It is theorized that removing him from the equation allows the order to fall and time to be free. On the surface, it's alluring and beautiful, as the unknown often is. But to release time from its shackles is to awaken the Leviathan from the seas of siege and establish a reign of chaos without end. It is of innocent mind to force-fit the modern theories of origin into the gaps of the ancient texts, but foolishness it is nonetheless. Nothing can form from the foundations of nothing, and only chaos can flow from springs of chaos. Time well spent exercising confusion is time well wasted. Innocent as they may be, the beholders of knives are bound to cut eventually. These servants of time have learned to recruit volunteers by the thousands who are succumbed to the mindless bliss of ignorance. Many hold weapons of mass destruction without ever recognizing the destruction bubbling in their wake. Time is but the writings of a scribe to the Creator of all. He possesses the account in full as we are moving through it like characters in a story still being told. If time is the architect, how is it that time designs and creates? If time is the author, how is it that time moves us with emotion and morality? If time is the originator, how is it that time develops purpose and love without end? It appears that time is merely a tool of measurement, not authorship or refinery. Only the Creator of all appoints the time for all things. Though the universe may be ever expanding and the globe may be spinning, one thing for sure is that time is passing as wonder fluctuates. Many orders of the Creator have been brought into question. But why not time? Life, marriage, gender, space, even matter, or other orders ordained by the ancient writings of the sea splitter by the work of the Spirit. all in the modern age questioned or deemed unjust. Tick-tock, tick-tock remains the fear-mongering mantra of the unquestioned order. The fear that time is running out and our resources are running dry. Fear that the unmet needs and selfish desires of others will lead to our demise. Fear that time will prevent us from doing the things that will bring us joy and ultimately purpose. But time will not provide such peace for such pressures. There is only peace in divine purpose, but this peace is not earned nor found. This peace is gifted. It already exists in the possession of another, and time is not its true beholder. Peace is not the antidote of fear, but the opposite. Though the Spirit possesses such gifts, most do not wish to accept it. Instead, they loathe it, and for praise they offer pride. Time passed, and day after day they drifted further from the truth until they worshipped their own imaginations. Strangling their conscience into submission of their own will, they numbed themselves to shades of blue. Then in haste they bashed in their own skulls until the rushing reds of warm blood covered their bodies like the pagan altars of old. Then gasping through the streams of crimson over the cerulean bruises, they stood in royal shades of purple as sacraments to themselves. Tick-tock, tick-tock they groan. Tick-tock, tick-tock they moan. Tick-tock, tick-tock they hide. And tick-tock, tick-tock they die by the hands of time. It is the hands of time that hold us, counting every second and waiting on every word. If we struggle and scream, the grip tightens and resistance builds until we are uncomfortably aware of its presence. If we let time have its way and lie docile, the grip eases into a dangerous delectation. For in all things, a balance must be found. But if time itself is not conscious, who holds the rein when it veers off path? Who holds the chain when it's cleared to seek its wrath? If no creator forces its hand, then what lies awake on the other end? That is the hands of time. And I wrote that. I'm in the process of writing a book, and that began as the first chapter, but it quickly took a new form throughout my outline. So I just removed that as an essay. I just loved it so much, and I will share it on my website if you wish to go and read it for yourself. I know reading and listening can be different, and one is typically preferred from one or the other. So, yeah, that is the hands of time.
Morning.
Morning.
Getting hot out here.
Yes, it is.
Have a good day.
You too. It's a neighbor riding by. I don't know if you could hear her when she said morning. It's getting hot out here. And that is true. It is very hot today. Well, I had always talked about writing, and obviously I write music and lyrics and things of that nature, but I've never really stooped is not the right word. I've never really stepped into narrative writing, but I've always wanted to. And the day after 4th of July, I got to spend a lot of time with my grandparents. My wife had to go further out of town to photograph a wedding. She does wedding photography. So I got to spend a lot of time with my grandparents that day because we had my dog, and I couldn't ride back with another family member because my dog was with me. He's a large husky. So I just hung out the day with my grandparents, and we all love movies and things of that nature. So I think that day we watched 4 different movies. We started off with Dead Poets Society, which I had only seen when I was a teenager. And wow, that movie is so good and so much heavier than I remembered it being. There was a lot more I understood this time around. And hold on. The next movie we watched was Young Washington. We actually went to the theater to watch that. It's with Ben Kingsley, Andy Serkis, and Kelsey Grammer. And then I don't remember the name of the kid who plays young Washington. Ironically, it's some British kid. But it was a pretty good movie, I must say. I really enjoyed it. Angel Studios is very often hit or miss. I would say the cinematography is almost always good, but sometimes the dialogue can just be painful and unrealistic and stale, honestly. Dull, maybe. But very good, I was impressed. I would watch it again. The next movie we watched, we came home, hung out for a bit, ate some dinner. Then we watched The Mule, which is a Clint Eastwood film about him being a mule, drug mule for the cartel. And then after that, my grandparents went to bed, and after watching The Mule, I was just in the mood to watch another Clint Eastwood film. But I wasn't necessarily looking for like Western. I did just finish all the Fistful of Dollars, Few Dollars More, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, those spaghetti westerns. And I really enjoyed those. So I've been kind of on a Clint Eastwood kick, and I know my grandfather loves Clint Eastwood movies, so that's why I was like, oh, we should watch The Mule. He had never seen it. Well, while we were watching that, I kind of was scrolling through his IMDb and saw that he had released a movie called J.R.R. Number 2. Wow. That movie was fantastic. That movie was insane. And I got to sit on their back porch, smoke my pipe while watching a movie, which is just something I don't get to do very often. So I was very, very glad that I got to do that. It was just such a great... I love when I get to watch a movie and smoke my pipe. It's the small things. It's the small things. I get to read all the time. I get to write all the time. Seldom do I get to watch a movie while smoking a pipe. So, got to do that on their back porch. They have a big TV on their back porch. And I watched that. And I was just mind blown. And it was that story that made me realize I need to stop saying I want to be a writer and be a writer. I need to start writing. Because I feel like my perfectionist nature really holds me back at times. Maybe hearing the breeze, it's starting to pick up a bit, just so you know. But I was really done. Hello. Oh, I'll get you more food in just a second. I was really done just saying I wanted to do something. And I wanted to do something. So I came home the next day, which I journal frequently, but again, I wanted to step into narrative writing. I have a novel idea that I'm not going to share. But I just know it's $1 million novel idea. It started off as a song, and I was just like, no, it has to be, like, I have to be able to go into greater context. So I was like, I'm going to start it. And I just kind of wrote this first chapter as an exercise just to get out what I was going to do, and it quickly morphed into something else. So then I was like, let me outline this novel a bit, and then very quickly after doing a complete outline, story structure, all that, I was like, oh, this is not going to fit anywhere in there. So it got to be its own thing, and I'm excited because I get to share it. Had it been a part of the novel, I would not be sharing it today because I don't like sharing stuff that is not at a good stopping point, or that's going to be edited a lot, because I feel like if I share it publicly, I'm less inclined to go back and finish it, because I already kind of got the dopamine hit of sharing it, if that makes sense. So dangerous game to play, sharing stuff early. Publicly, that is. I'll share it with close friends and relatives who care to hear it as more for notes and feedback than anything else, not just to feel good about myself. So that has begun. That process is in process, and I'm very much excited. And I will be posting again this essay on my website. I was just very inspired by J.R.R. Number 2. definitely go check it out if you haven't seen it. It's a fantastic movie. And the story is just so beautifully written. The tension, the mystery, the simpleness, yet it's like a simple setting, yet it's a thriller. It's beautiful. And I'm very much inspired by that type of stuff. So, thank you, Clint Eastwood. The writing has begun. And thank you, my wife, and thank you to just anyone who has encouraged me to step into that direction along the way. I know there's many of you. Well, I really don't have much more to share that I can think of. I think I covered just about everything that was on the agenda. Plus some bonus because this cat came along. She's still laying right here. So, that being said, yeah, no, that's all I got. We talked about Northwoods, talked about the essay, we talked about the movies. I would really love a Young Washington sequel. So, if you have the opportunity and you're not completely opposed to it, go check out the movie. I would love to see more about the Founding Fathers in movies that aren't musicals, if you smell what I'm saying. Especially stuff that's just riddled with surface level agendas that it's hard to look past. So, that being said, go check out the movie. And definitely watch J.R.R. #2. And let me know in the comments what you think of this essay and anything else you want to